Yeah, I just want to talk, man. Had to hop on. Shout out to all the holiday people celebrating and doing what y'all do. I'm not a holiday person, to say the least. I'm not a holiday person. Um, I'm gonna talk about like how I see, a lot of the coaching things, cause I've been reading and I've been reading some coaching books and watching some videos. I'm in the middle of reading The Inner Game of Tennis. Y'all should read it. That's a really good book, actually. It confirmed a lot of what I did in my childhood because I was like, I'm trying to teach some of my students specific things, right? And I think I just been like over explaining, and I kind of realized that myself. I was like, I feel like I'm just over explaining so many things and going into like maybe too much detail, and so I had to think back of like, how did I learn? Like, why is my movement so good? Like, why is my footwork perfect? Like, why do I do these things? And no one ever really broke down the details for me. And it basically comes down to just like watching and learning. And so if you're trying to learn something, especially a sport, like watching and just trying your best to do what you see, that's the unlock to learning basketball, I feel like, or learning any sport and being able to do it at a high level. Because if you think about kids, right? Like how does every kid learn? Like think about walking, especially. Like that's the example they use in the book, but they don't say it the same way I'm about to say it. It's like if you think about how kids learned how to walk, they seen you walk 10,000 times. And you didn't tell them, okay, stand up, put pressure on this foot, and then lift your leg, and then move it forward. Like you didn't tell them all that shit. They just seen you do it 10,000 times, and then they just over time started learning how to walk on their own through trial and error. But they seen you do it, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna try it, and they stumble in, and they just learn through their own mistakes. And I think that's the best way to learn, and that's how I'm trying to teach. And I tried it actually on Sunday with a lot of my, or not Sunday yet. What's today? Saturday, which was yesterday, with a few of my students, and like I just basically was not talking. I was just demonstrating, and I was like, all right, just do what I do, and they started to do the things better than they had been when I was explaining it, the weeks prior. And so I was like, okay, that's perfect because like I know how to do, pretty much everything on the court. My technique's solid, so I was like, I can just demonstrate everything and just have them copy it over and over and over. And so that's gonna be my approach going forward, as far as like teaching kids how to learn moves and how to play well and do these types of things. And if y'all got questions, you can ask questions. Just want to say what's up. I'm gonna answer your question, bro, in a minute. But also, one thing I also learned is like you shoot, especially like shooting is one of those things too, right? You will shoot like the person you watch the most. And so I know this because when I was in high school, I watched so much Kobe. Like our form was virtually identical. All my shots were exactly like his shots. And then after my knee injury, my surgery, I was watching a lot of Kevin Durant, and like I was just watching a ton of Kevin Durant, and so my shots started coming up from the left, and so I had that realization because I heard Lonzo talking about like that was his favorite player. His favorite player is Kevin Durant, and if you know Lonzo, like his old jump shot, he shot from the left, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like subconsciously, you start to do the things that you see, and that's why people always say, okay, you're gonna be like the people you hang around, or you're the sum of the five people. Like that shit is real. It's super real. And so, and then I asked like some of my other students that shot from the left. I was like, you watch Kevin Durant, huh? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, I know, because you shoot from the left. And it just made so much sense. And then I had another student who shoots like how I shoot, and all he did was just watch me shoot over the years, and he changed his shot to look basically almost exactly like mine. And I was like, okay, yeah, I never taught you to shoot like that. You just kind of did it on your own. And so that kind of, that on top of reading the book, The Inner Game of Tennis, like it just clicked for me. So I was like, okay, this is perfect because now I have a couple students where like I need to teach them different movements. So I'm gonna just try this over and over of like less explaining, less talking, less critiquing, less being detailed, which I'm still gonna be detailed to an extent. But the thing about details is you have to be able to be detailed without making it so you overthink, because if you get too detailed with specific people, then they overthink. So for me personally, like I can get extremely detailed, but it does not make me overthink. You know what I mean? And so I have to figure out kind of where my students are, is like how detailed can I get with them without making them think so much. And some of them I can't get into too much detail because then, it just gets all in their head, and then, they get stiff and can't move. But then, some players I can tell them like, hey, do this, this, and this, and then they got it, and it'll click, and they can do it and then they don't overthink it. So, those are some things I'm gonna be doing going forward. And I also got to talk about, like, I think the state of coaching is just so bad right now, where so many young players are just afraid of their coach or afraid to make mistakes. And I think coaches, we have, like, as a unit, we forget what our job actually is as a coach. Like, our job isn't to instill fear and, like, just be a dictator and be hard all the time, be tough all the time. Like, we are supposed to be helping these players grow as people and as players. And if that's not our main focus, then what are we doing? Like, if we're just scolding a player and we're not giving them real answers to how to learn and become the best version of them and understand how to do the things that's, beneficial for the team, but also, helps them grow and gain skills, like, then what are we doing? Like, we're really just, I think we're forgetting the mission of what coaching actually is supposed to be about, because there's a lot of coaches who yell, 1,000 times more than I do, but then they don't have the guts to bench their best player. They don't have the guts to kick a player out of the gym or tell them that they're done for the day. You know what I mean? And so they play in the middle of, like, they pretend to be this hard coach and this tough coach because they're yelling all the time and they're making them run and doing this shit. But then when it comes down to the real, like, consequences of it, they don't give out the consequences necessary to make a player learn. And for me, like, I have no problem kicking a kid out of the gym or telling him he's done with practice or go sit on the side and get out of the drill, or, like, you're done with this group or whatever it is. But, on the other side, like, I'm extremely caring and helpful to my players, and I want them to learn, and I let them go out in the game and make mistakes and be like, yo, like, explore your game. You know what I mean? And learn some things. And maybe if you miss a layup or you air ball or you try a different pass, like, I'm not going to be pissed at that. But at the same time, like, you got to be accountable for not doing dumb shit and just being a bad leader. Like, there's so many teams where I watch and the best player on the team is just the worst leader, like, yelling at everybody and, like, basically screaming or blaming their teammates for their shitty passes or and all this other stuff. And it's just so frustrating to me, because it's like I was this close to being that same player, right? And one of my coaches, like, basically got that out of me. He was like, don't be yelling at your teammates, don't say this. Like, anytime I did anything that was like leaning towards being a bad teammate, he was on me, like, no, like, that's not what we're about to do. Stop crying, like, man up. And, like, that's how I kind of grew into the player I was. And there were still times even after that where I yell at my teammate because, like, they just didn't want to do, we're supposed to be fronting the post and then having the backside help, and they don't want to do that shit. And I'm like, that's a fucking part of the game plan. And, like, I would get mad at them about that type of shit. But at the end of the day, I learned how to be a good leader and a good teammate. And there's nobody that can say that when I was the head of the team, as far as, like, controlling the ball and being the best player and doing all these things, that I was a bad leader. Like, no one can say that. And, I take pride in that. And I'm happy that the coaches that I had taught me how to do that. And I think it's our responsibility to not be afraid to lose if your best player wants to act up. I will lose if my best player is going to act ass. I was like, okay, you'll sit on the bench. We'll play like shit because you're out of the game, and then that's what it's going to be. I'm not afraid to do that, and I think a lot of other coaches are afraid to do that. They're afraid of their own players, and that's kind of what I see at the landscape of coaching. So I think a lot of my content's going to lean a lot towards coaching, because if I only stick to helping players, then I think what'll happen is, like, every team I could help maybe 3 players that see my content, but then the other 9 players, they never see any of my videos. But if their coach sees my videos, then they can translate that to all 12 players. So then I'm making a bigger impact by helping the coaches help the players instead of just me and going direct me to the players, And so that's something I'm probably going to go towards a lot, because that's just, a theme that I'm seeing is just, there's too much fear in the youth basketball. There's either too much overconfidence and dumb shit, or people are too afraid to do things that's right. Like, it's not even bad basketball. It's just, like, the right thing to do. Like, people are afraid to do that. But yeah, I'll answer some questions. What's up? Appreciate y'all jumping on. I don't know how long I'll be on here. till I run out of shit to say or I get boring. Having a hard time with my diet and staying consistent. So the way everybody works is like you work off of a routine. So like think about it, you get stuck in a routine every day at this time, you always on the computer, or you end up falling asleep at 1 in the morning every time no matter what you do. Like you got to force yourself into a routine that you can't get out of, and I think one of the easiest ways is to hang around different people. If you really want a lifestyle change, like hanging around different people works. Like the last girl I was with, she ate like all this healthy stuff, and she didn't eat fast food, and she like cooked a specific way and like all these things. And so I automatically started doing those things. Like when you're with somebody so much, you naturally start doing the things that the other person does. And so the things I picked up from her was just like, okay, I'm gonna drink more water or specific types of water. I don't use my microwave no more. I started drinking like fruit smoothies and like doing all these other things, and that shit works. You know what I mean? But then when you separate from that person, you figure out, you kind of fall into a whatever's easiest in the moment. So I think if you really want a lifestyle change, it's like hang around different people or force yourself into a routine that you can't get out of. That's the fastest way in my mind to do things. How do you think someone should change their form or shot depending on the defender? Well, as you're playing, you can't think about your form, or you're not gonna make shots. So there's only a two motion or one motion. Like if you're on the move, maybe like a mid range or whatever, you're gonna shoot two motion shots for the most part. But if you're like standstill, it depends just who you are. So I don't know. There's no real. I don't change my form or shot depending on the defender. I can get my shot off against anybody. That's why she like Jared. I don't know who Jared McCain is, but yeah, if you watch somebody like, that's who you're gonna shoot like. Who the fuck is Gunther? What do you think are the most important defensive reads in for a player on defense? You have to read body language. Like if you're trying to, be really good at defense, body language is half the game. Like especially on a lower level, 9 times out of 10, people aren't conscious enough to look left and throw the pass right. They're gonna like stare it down, and they're gonna throw it, and you can tip the pass. Like, so I think that's the first thing, and then pick up on tendencies of individual people, of like this person likes to go left, this person can't handle pressure, this person can't shoot, like these type of things. So body language on top of tendencies, like that's 70-80% of defense in itself. And then the other shit is just like athleticism, reaction time. Are you good at stopping? Like Davion Mitchell, the reason he's so good at defense is he can stop. Like go watch Davion Mitchell play defense, and when someone snatches back, like when he plays against Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell does that aggressive drive and snatches back, Davion Mitchell stops on a dime. Like he's the best I've ever seen at stopping on defense. And so that kind of stuff matters too. What about people like Trae Young with eye release points? I mean, he has like top 3 quickest releases in the league. So yeah, he's averaging like 30 and 10. I don't know what you want me to say. Like he can get his shit off. You just got to know how to get your shit off, bro. Like that's it. You got to know yourself and know how much space you need, and understand an opponent's, length or whatever it is. What is actually the best way to grow your game? It's the same shit I always say. Master the fundamentals and play against people, and watch the people that you want to play like. It's those 3 things combined. So like master the fundamentals, practice hard as fuck. Like most people don't practice hard. Like I literally have a video of me doing 1 dribble pull-ups, going left and right as hard as I possibly can. Most people don't do that. And that's a 10-15 minute video. And I even cut some of it out. So I was doing that for half an hour. 1 dribble pull-up, full intensity, technique, everything. And so that's the intensity and the exactness and the fundamentals that I practice every single day. Obviously doing like different things within that, not just 1 dribble pull-ups, but like catch and shoot, I'm shot ready like everything shot ready. I'm gonna catch and shoot. Like that's how you gotta practice, you know. Um, my talking so majestic. Someone else said that a long time ago. I don't know. It's just my voice sometimes. My voice is different depending on the type of video I'm making. I don't understand it. Like sometimes I listen back to myself and I'm like, my other videos don't sound like this. But I don't know. I don't know. Um, what about the opposite? How should a offensive player read the defense? You just gotta look for space. Like, and it depends on your own skills. Like, if you can't shoot, your reading's gonna be different than a person that can't dribble. So it's really like it really comes down to knowing yourself and knowing how much space you need in order to do different things, and then you know looking at where the help's going to be and what kind of move does the defender fall for. Like there's certain defenders that don't fall for a crossover, like a hang cross. Like some defenders don't fall for that. Some defenders don't fall for a delay and go. It just like it's really experience. Like you need a shit ton of experience against a lot of different people on an intense level. Like that's gonna answer 90% of your questions. To be honest about like reading and things like that, and then just watch the best players in the world and figure out, okay, they're looking at this, they're going left and they know how to create space doing that, and know how the defender's gonna react based on what move you do. Every defender doesn't react the same, so there's different prototypes of defenders, and you got to understand that. But all that stuff comes with experience. Like I'm experience, bro. That's the number one thing that a lot of players take for granted. They do all this creative ass training and they do all these weird drills and all these cone drills, and there's a trainer out there with in their bio. I'm not gonna call him out because I think he's a solid trainer, but in his bio it's like 1,400 drills now in my bio. Like 1,400 drills, bro. I don't even think I've done 1,400 drills. Like you don't need 1,400 fucking drills. I'll tell you that right now. It's firing me up just thinking about it. It's stupid. It's unnecessary. but yeah, I think like that. And then like what are fundamentals? It's just like it's how you're doing something, like rip throughs, like as you rip through lower high. Are you taking a good angle when you drive? Are you balanced on your shot? Like different things like that. So there's no fundamental drills. It's just do the most basic things the best possible way you can technique wise. Like, if I'm doing a tween cross, like I do it perfectly every time, intensely as I can. That's what it is. Like if I'm doing, a one dribble pull up or I'm working on catch and shoot, I'm doing it perfectly with perfect balance and perfect flow and perfect follow through every single time. Like that's fundamental stuff. It's in like my pivot, like is your pivot's perfect. Like it's all about like um balance and technique on how you do things. And like keeping it like the amount of trainers I see that their dribble is so high that it's actually insane. It blows my mind. Like the highest dribble in the world. What the hell? I'm working on a vision board right now. Y'all should do a vision board. That shit works. I made one a couple years ago. I forgot to make one last year. But that shit worked. Like 95% of the things on my vision board actually happened. So yeah, I'm redoing mine. I'm not gonna tell you what's on there. I don't like to tell people like things like that, but vision boards work. Best way to train a middle schooler: fundamentals and experience. Like fundamentals and experience. Changing voices like cat. I think I only got two voices. I got like, cause if I do, okay, the reason is like if I'm doing a voiceover, like I'm focused on something different rather than if I got my camera up and I'm just like talking out of emotion. I think that's why my voice changes within those two things. But that shit's funny. Cause like the voiceover I did with the video that's like how to just playing it out of your own head. I don't know why my voice is like that. And I don't even think that it is. I'm just like doing the voiceover because I already made the video. But then if I just got like my phone up and I'm just doing like face to camera, it's different. But I think because it feels like I'm talking to somebody instead of like, it doesn't feel like I'm making something. So like the emotion is a little bit different. I don't know. What year is the best Mike Conley? Whichever one he was playing with, Zebo and Marcus Hall. What's the most impactful way to increase your in-game IQ? Um, Study like really watch the game and watch patterns, and like half of it too, you need a really good coach to show you. That's why I do the film study videos. There's other people that do the film study videos now. Like, what's crazy is a lot of people don't know I was the first person to do that on TikTok, which is like, it's meaningless, but it's because I think being first and things are meaningless for the most part. Like, no one remembers the first anything. You think you do, but then you realize like, oh, that person really wasn't the first person. You know, but yeah, I think like watching film and studying patterns and just realizing like, okay, if you drive, like knowing what the help's gonna do, and different stuff like that. Just picking up, just playing a lot too, playing a lot. I don't know why Kawhi shot's flat. Everyone has a different shot, to be honest. um, like Kevin Martin had an awkward shot, but his shit was money. So it's less about how it looks. It's more about the principles behind shooting. Like, are you following shooting principles? That's why I think like this book, this shit right here, the most important book when it comes to shooting of all time. Not even close. Pro Shooting Secrets. Good Drills. Shout out Good Drills, man. I'm left-handed. Do you think have an advantage? No. Being a left-handed shooter means absolutely nothing. A lot of people think that it does. It means nothing, bro. The best shooters of all time are right-handed. It means nothing. What skills do you qualify as essentials when 6 foot when training against taller people? I don't know, man. That's too specific. That's not like basketball's all the same. That's the thing that people don't understand. There's no differences in anything. Like, just because you're 6 foot, that doesn't mean your game is different because someone else is like. It's just about advantages. That's what it's about. It's about advantages. What is your advantage over the person that is guarding you at the moment? That's what you have to recognize. Nothing else matters. And so the thing I hate is when I do film and somebody's like, oh, yeah, easy for him to do. He's fucking 6'8". I'm like, yeah, there's a 6'8" person guarding him also. Like, it's a ratio. It's not like he's 6'8" dominating somebody that's 5'9". Like, if somebody's 6'8" and they're doing something against another 6'8" player, and you're 6 foot and you can do the same thing against another 6 foot player. Like, it's a fucking 1-to-1 ratio. I hate it. Like, that shit drives me nuts when people say that stupid shit. And so, yeah. I'm looking at my vision board right now. This is a good ass vision board. I'll tell y'all if it comes true though. I got, I ain't gonna tell you. I'll tell you one of the things on my vision board. One of the things I put on there is I want for one, I want an apartment in Dallas, and I want to have 1,000 students in my academy, and then I want Kyrie to wear one of my shirts, and that's it. I ain't gonna tell you the rest. The other shit is secret. Also, I want a design studio, which I'm making one. If you saw my last video of me like showing the hoodie, like that's turned my living room into a design studio. So you can see like the clothing rack I got, and I built it. So I got good shit on my vision board. My vision board is popping. Oh shit, no, don't want that. Okay. Let's answer some more. How can I shoot with confidence? Practice, bro. Confidence comes from competence. No matter how, like, if you know you can make jump shots, no one can tell you differently if you've proven it to yourself 1,000 times over. It's just have the guts to shoot it in the game, and then once you start making them, it's like, okay, I'm good now. It's like getting tackled in football for the first time. Like, once you get tackled, you're good. You're like, okay, this is nothing. And so practice your ass off and then go get results. Like go play against people and make shots. But don't be so stressed about it. Like a lot of people are too stressed about wanting it to go in and like everything has to go well and I gotta make shots. Like just play ball, bro. Like it don't matter, just play ball. I think that was my biggest strength. My biggest strength as a player is just I don't give a fuck if I play good or bad, really. And so like that helped me. Like I think I can get into the zone at any moment, I feel like. And now I think there's levels to it. There's levels to being in the zone. there's like there's like a level of there's one level where it's okay, like I can play well just because I feel good. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm focused. Like I know how to focus and be into like let's say there's like in the zone there's like level 1 and then there's level 2. So level 1 is like just you're extremely focused, you're in the moment, like you're not bothered. I can get into that at any second. Like right now I could get up and go play and I can be in the zone. Um I can get myself there within a matter of like 5 minutes. But then the level 2 of that is like literally almost like blacking out. I've been in that a couple times where it's like I don't even like I have no sense of anything. It's just like everything's happening. Like there's a time when I played a JUCO in college and I scored 14 points in like 90 seconds. Like I came out of the half, hit a 3 automatically, like got a steal, hit another 3. Like there's something else happening. I got like a deflection, came down, pump fake, floater that was like a sky ball over the center, all net. And then the last one, like I pump faked on a 3, and I was probably like 5 feet behind the line, and I almost stumbled, but I didn't travel. I kept my pivot foot, and then I regained my balance and cashed it. After that, I was tired as fuck, and I got a sub. But like in that moment, it was just happening so fast and so automatic that it didn't even like it's like that when they say he's unconscious. Like I was unconscious. I've been in that a couple times, but I can get into level 1 easily. And the way you get to level 1 of being in the zone is just stop judging yourself. Like I don't judge anything. I don't give a fuck if you block my shot. I don't give a fuck if you rip me. I don't care if I turn the ball over. I don't care. Like the fact that I don't care is what keeps me in the moment and focused. And then, and then I start to feel comfortable and I do the things and I perform the skills that I've been practicing. And so like the combination of practicing your ass off plus the combination of just literally not being so judgmental about it, just analyze it. Just be like, okay, I got my shot blocked because I didn't like I knew this dude was gonna block my shot subconsciously. Like I felt it, but I was just like, I don't know why. I think I was so rusty and like I was just kind of maybe mentally lazy, too lazy to like change my shot. And like my legs are a little bit different now because I don't work out every day. So like there's literally things I think about. Like I want to do a move, and my body cannot do that move, you know. And so that's been happening to me lately. And so I think that was the moment like the dude just blocked my shit, and I was like, I knew that was gonna fucking happen. But then I just didn't care. Like after a while, I figured it out and I started getting them out scoring. And so you gotta stop being so judgmental, bro. Yeah, you gotta accept the consequences. Like I accept the fact that I might airball, or a coach might yell at me, or a teammate might be mad, or whatever it is. Like I don't like you. The reason you're scared to shoot is you care way too much, bro. You care way too much. And it's like, and you're trying to force. Like for me, I don't force. I can score, and it never feels like I'm forcing. My teammates never think that I'm a shot chucker, and that's the thing that, like, that's only happened to me maybe once. When I was like 16, I had this little phase of just like shooting at every fucking thing. I think I was watching too many Kobe videos, to be honest. But I overcame that phase in a matter of like months. Cause I asked somebody, I was like, "Do you think I'm selfish?" Cause I wasn't selfish. I think I was just unaware of what I was doing. I was just trying too much. And so I asked one of these dudes at a camp I was at, I was like, "Do you think I'm selfish?" And he was like, "Yeah, sometimes." And I was like, "Damn." Like that shit actually had me sad for a second because I was like, I know I'm not selfish. And so after that, I kind of like became more aware of what I was doing and I stopped forcing shots. And then I could still score, but I was just a way better player after that moment because I was just real. Like I understood that he was being real with me. I asked for a real answer and I got a real answer. And so you can't be afraid of the truth. Um, you know, that's part of it. Stop trying to prove yourself and play a game. Yeah, like that's like the things that I just said. Stop trying to like who are you trying to prove yourself to? Like you might want to be proving yourself to yourself, but just like it's a lot. It's a lot of different things combined, bro. Like I think it really comes down to self confidence. Like for me, I didn't care if I played bad because if somebody else said I played bad, I didn't like their opinion had no weight on me because I was confident in who I was. And I was real enough to look at my flaws and be like, okay, yeah, I was playing like shit, or yeah, I was shooting too much, or yeah, I was getting cooked and I was on defense. Like I'm real enough to accept the fact of what was happening, good or bad. And so like I think that's where you got to get to, and then after that, like you can be okay with any performance because you're just real about it, and you know how to get better. So like I was real with the fact when I always tell the story when I was 16, I had to like learn how to shoot mid ranges, and which is now my best shot. Like from that time on, it became my best shot. Like the shot I can make the most was a mid range jump shot. But it started because like I was just real with myself. I would just think about the games and be like, I fucking brick every single mid range that I take. I can't make any of them. And so it made me take the change, make the change and do the things required in order to gain the skill. And so like if you know how to get better and you're willing to do the work, just like be honest with yourself. Like be brutally honest with yourself and be like, okay, I do struggle against harder competition. I do struggle against a one-on-one press. I do get a little bit nervous when I play against a certain person or a different level of competition and things like that. Like be real about it and be like, okay, what's an answer for this? You know what I'm saying? But if the reason people are always trying to prove something because they're afraid of like someone's gonna be like, man, you're trash, and then or you suck at defense or you suck at shooting, and then they don't want to face that fact, so they'll try to defend themselves and be like, no, no, man, you hater, man. But like for me, if somebody said I was bad at something, I would really think about it and be like, maybe, like you know what I'm saying? I had no ego when it came to that shit because it just didn't matter. And I knew the people that were saying that shit, like they wouldn't dare do half the workouts that I was doing. Like they'd never worked as hard as I did. They weren't as good as I was. So, I don't know. I just had this sense of security and I never thought about any of the games being good or bad. And I think that was a blessing that I had. I was never told that I played a bad game growing up, like from my parents or from my mom or anything. Like there wasn't a single, and there was times I played bad, but there was never a time of like we had a conversation of saying I had a bad game. That was never, not one time, a topic of conversation. So they didn't even enter my mind that there was good or bad games. It was just like, okay, I wasn't making shots today. Like it's just okay. I got some rebounds. I played some D. There's times where I scored 30 and I hit, a ton of threes and we won a championship. And then the next championship we won, I literally had zero and I only played defense. So I think just being super real and understanding that it don't matter and like all these different, and your environment matters too. Like, it's a lot to distill, but I think just don't judge yourself. That's the number one. That's the first step is don't judge anything. There's no good or bad. Everything is for your own growth. If you miss 6 shots, it's good for you because you realize you need to work on your shot. It's just things like that. I'm 5'7". Get better at ball, bro. The easiest way to score is try not to score. Any tips on starting? That's too vague, brother. Starting to practice for a better 3-point shot. If you're trying to get better at threes, stop shooting threes. It sounds counterproductive, but I think like every player that I get that needs to get better at shooting, I ban them from shooting threes, and they always get better at shooting because if you're so focused on threes, you just completely disregard the mid range. And so it's like work on your mid range, work on your form shots, work your way back. And once you stop getting so obsessed with threes, they will come to you over time. You just got to work on the mid range and the distance in between that. So stop shooting threes if you want to get better at them. That's what Giannis should do. For real. How should you guard someone who has a physical advantage on you? Don't let them touch you. And you gotta strip the ball before they go up with it. That's like your number one. You gotta get under them, and don't let them bump you or push you or overpower you. Like once they start to go into you, move out of the way, but don't like move to the side. Like back up, and like kind of pull the chair on them at all times, and then read which direction they're going to go and try to strip the ball. But once they get the ball over your head, it's wraps, bro. Good luck. There's only so much you can do, but like that shit always works for me when I had to play against taller players. Like I would pretend to bump them super hard, and then I would back up and then pull the chair, and I would read which way they turn, and I would always strip it. Asking how to be a better shooter is not a stupid question. Read pro shooting secrets. And on my YouTube, there's a video called Shooting 101. Appreciate you. I don't celebrate holidays, but I appreciate you. Happy holidays. I don't follow anybody that does, though. Do you? It's your life, brother. Yeah, if y'all got questions, fire away, bro. How do I feel about Luka's future? He'll be solid. If he gets in shape, he'll be solid. You know? Winning a championship is hard, man. But he's already one of the best players we've ever seen in the game. Like he is one of the smartest players I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I've been watching basketball for 20-ish. Since I was like 14, I started watching basketball. So for 16 years I've watched basketball. 17 years. He's by far one of the smartest players I've ever watched in my entire life. Like but I think for him to win a championship, he has to take defense seriously. Himself. He has to take being in shape seriously. Like Jokic, the reason people don't understand. The reason Jokic Jokic is fooling y'all with that shit. We're talking about, I don't practice, and he's fucking fooling y'all. You're not gonna be the best in the world and not practice. It's the same shit with Iverson. People really thought Iverson doesn't practice, bro. You're not doing what he does against Kobe and Shaq in the finals and going against Vince Carter and Ray Allen in the playoffs, and you're not practicing. That shit is an absolute fluke. Like, it doesn't happen. Even Allen Iverson's came out and said it. It's like, I can't do these things without practicing. Like, it's just not possible. And so, same thing with Jokic. Like, he's fucking pulling the wool over you guys' eyes. This dude practices, and he's competitive as fuck. And he's a real hooper, like a madman. Like, he's not, you don't just do what he does passively. That doesn't happen. It's I'm telling you. But I think what my point was going to be was the reason Jokic started winning championships is, I can't remember who it was. Somebody called out his defense. Like, y'all can find the clip probably. Somebody called out his defense and was like, he's being lazy in the pick and roll defense and all these other things. And he actually like took the advice and was like, okay, like, yeah, I'm going to start playing. And so if you watch how he changed, from what he looked like before the championship and what he looked like even the year before the championship and the year they won it, two totally different players. Like, he got in better shape. He got way better on the defensive rebounds and on ball, like in post defense. He got way better at all that shit. And so that's the thing that Luka's going to have to do if he actually wants to win championships. Like, it's just that's what it is. It's why Steph won championships. Like, he actually had to get better at these things, and actually get better at defense and get stronger and all these things. Like, it's real, so I think if Luka makes that sacrifice, bro, he just needs like him and Kyrie can do it if they have. I'm trying to think, because out west the Nuggets are still an issue. I was gonna look at the standings. Let's look at the NBA standings, because I think the Mavericks are dangerous. Like, the Warriors got to get out of the way. Like, the Warriors are still dangerous. I think they just have to make actual decisions about who they're gonna play and who they're not gonna play. Like, it's obvious that Clay and Wiggins need less minutes. And the other young guys, like, Pajinski, I don't know how to say his name. That dude, Moody, Kuminga, they got another dude, I can't remember his name, that's playing well. Like, all them dudes really, like, they got a real team. And they're not even that far back. Like, right now they're in the 10th spot, but they're, what is it? Like 2 games. Yeah, they're literally 2 games behind 5th place. And so it looks worse than it is for them. But I think the Warriors are going to be a real issue. The Thunder, I'll tell you this. I have a tweet sent in 2013, I have a tweet 2 or 3 years before the Nuggets won the championship that I said that they were going to be a legitimate team and nobody's going to want to see them. They reminded me of the young Warriors. Right now, that team is the Thunder. The Thunder right now are what the Nuggets were 4 or 5 years ago. Right now. So in 2 years, you can record this. in 2 to 3 years, the Oklahoma City Thunder will be like a Western Conference finals looking type team, like for real. Because I think Shea is real. Chet's only gonna get better, and if he can stay healthy, they got the pieces around that can play defense, and they got length, and they just got like really really solid players. Like they're like a player away or a year away from being a team that's like a top of the West type team, in a Western Conference Finals type team. Like that's literally how I see them. They're better than the Timberwolves. I don't give a fuck what the Timberwolves look like. The Thunder are better than the Timberwolves in my eyes. Like I would take them in a playoff series. But yeah, as far as like Luka and them, can they Okay, so the Western standings: T-Wolves, Nuggets. So can the Mavericks beat the T-Wolves in a playoff series? Yes. Can they beat the Nuggets in a playoff series? Right now, today, no. I don't think they have the depth to get it done. Can they beat the Thunder in the playoff series? Yes. The Kings, that'd be a good one. But I think so. The Clippers, I don't think they could beat the Clippers this year. Depending. That'd be a good one. But right now, yeah, they're like the third best team in the West, maybe. And then you still got the Suns, who need to get healthy. You still got the Lakers, who has LeBron, like he never dies. Like that's just an issue that you have to deal with if you play him. The Warriors are going to be a real team come March. So I don't think, the Mavericks, they need like another top 10 guy. Because you don't win a championship without a top 5 guy. And so Luka is that guy for them. And it just depends on like Kyrie Irving, like how is he gonna play? Like the dual guards never win a championship. The dual guard set never works. And so they need a legitimate wing player that's like if they had like I don't even know who they would fit. I don't know, but they need a wing that's like a legitimate wing. You know what I mean? But I like the Mavs, dude. I really do. Let's see in the East, the Celtics. I think the Celtics are going to the finals this year. Yeah, it's still Celtics, Bucks, Sixers, same top 3 it's always been. The Heat always sneak in there and do damage somehow. Yeah, I think this year it'll be the Celtics, and I have no idea. I think it might be, it's going to be crazy. I think it might be Celtics Warriors again for the finals. The same finals that it was 2 years ago. I think it's going to be Celtics Warriors. The only thing is I don't know how the Warriors deal with Jokic if they have to play him. So hopefully they don't have that matchup and they lose to someone else. But yeah, I don't know why I feel like the Warriors are going to make the finals. We'll see, man. We'll see. The Wemby and the Spurs. Bro, the Spurs they don't want to play through Wemby. I don't understand. They don't get that he's already been a professional. Like he's not like anybody that's playing another pro league and then they come to your pro league. Like that's a different type of rookie. And so I think they're swinging too much the opposite way. Like they literally do not give this man the ball as if he's not, a unicorn. Like any other team, bro, that he makes it to. And what's crazy is everyone's like, oh yeah, this is a perfect situation for Wemby. He gets to have the ball and all these things, and then they don't give him the fucking ball, and now they're 4-24. It's like, bro, the 4 wins. There's 4 teams with single digits, 560. Actually, the Grizzlies 7 wins, bro. The bottom of the NBA is atrocious. The Wizards have 5 wins. The Hornets have 7 wins. The Pistons are just wasteland. I came up with a way to fix the NBA relegation. I'm gonna make a full YouTube video about it. But I think any team that does not make the playoffs automatically is relegated. So there's 2 separate leagues. There's the top half who made the playoffs, and then there's the bottom half. And then how they should do it is the next year, like they stay in their own league, right? But then the bottom half teams that are first and second, they do the playing games against the top worst teams. And so like League 1, they take the worst teams and they do the play-in against the best teams. And then that's how they kind of do the relegation shit. And then if you get first in the bottom league, I think you should get the first pick. Because then it still incentivizes winning. So then there's no tanking. because like you can't be last. Like I think the only way people would tank is they would tank in order to be in the bottom league and then try to win the bottom league in order to get the first place, in order to get the first pick. Like that's the only way you could do it, but you can't tank and then expect to be top of the bottom league. And so I think that would fix that issue. As far as like relegation, and then the draft picks would make like a team that's borderline playoff ready. Just make them stronger, and so then every team has to play good, and then there's no tanking. That's my fix for the NBA. I got some other shit too. Oh, I gotta scroll back. I think I skipped some of y'all. But yeah, as far as like Wemby and them, just give Wemby the ball and stop fucking around. That's my thoughts. How do you become fully non-judgmental? Practice, bro. Catch yourself. Every time you're judgmental, just catch yourself. Be like, okay, I was judging that. Like, it just is what it is. It's literally practice. Like, knowing is not enough. Doing is synonymous with knowing. Everybody thinks that just because you know something, that you've learned it. It's like, no, you don't learn until you do the thing. And so if you're not doing it, then you don't know well enough. You know what I'm saying? And so always remember that. Doing is synonymous with knowing. If you know better, you do better. If you're not doing better, then you don't know well enough. Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, the Thunder, bro. Like, they kind of snuck up, but I could just kind of, because, like, for one, Shea averaged 30 out of nowhere. And everybody just act like that didn't happen. And then Chet's back. And he's a real player. He's probably better than a lot of people expected. You know, yeah, I like the Thunder, bro. Straight up. Opinion on the Magic. I was actually watching a Magic game yesterday, but I didn't get to watch them fully. So I don't really have a real opinion on them. To be honest, I haven't seen them play outside of a quarter and a half of basketball. So I'm going to have to watch the Magic. You know, I think Paolo is a real player. He's a legitimate like 6'9". He's like Jason Tatum, like mellow type body. And he has a lot of skills. My thoughts on the Warriors. I just gave my thoughts on the Warriors earlier. I don't know if you missed it. I think they're going to be in the finals. Sneakily. They're going to sneak in the finals. That's my opinion today, but it'll probably change. Once I start to see, once like March and April hits, I'll really know. But I think they could still sneak in there. I think right now they're just figuring things out. I think they're understanding that they actually have to play those younger dudes. So remember the video I made? I was like, is Draymond doing more harm than good? People forgot that I made that video. And, you know, it's a real question. And I think I got mixed reviews on it. But at the end of the day, he got suspended and they're playing good. So, you know, take that as it is. And they should have kept Jordan Poole. I don't know if they should have traded. They should have kept Jordan Poole over Klay Thompson. That was the real. Everybody thought it was Jordan Poole or Draymond, which relationship-wise it was. But Jordan Poole or Klay Thompson, Klay should have been shipped up out of there, bro. Jordan Poole would thrive with the Warriors because I think Jordan Poole needs that discipline. Like playing for the Wizards, bro, you just in a wasteland doing dumb shit. You don't have no accountability. There's no star players on that team holding you accountable to doing the right shit. Like he was accountable to Steph and Klay and Steve Kerr and all them dudes. Like when you're accountable to that, you have to do specific things. You know, you can still be free to some extent, but you have to do certain things to win and play winning basketball. And so like that's why he thrived under the Warriors, because of that discipline. The most effective tactic to use against zone defense: find the space. Find the space and overload. That's what I like to do. But I don't know. There's 1,000 ways to dissect a zone. How far are the Grizz going? They're going home. So how far they're going? They're not making the playoffs. They're not going anywhere, brother. How long should it take for a person to get moves down? There's no right answer, bro. I could learn a move in a day and do it in the game the next day. So, you know, it just depends who you are. Just try to get it down the best you can. You know, 9 more minutes and I'm off. So y'all can throw some more questions on there. Hold on, let me go back and see if I missed anything. How do I be more conscious of being efficient with dribbles and confident with dribbling in general? I think confidence with dribbling, like anything confidence based, comes from experience. Like if I've played 10,000 games of one on one, I'm probably going to be confident in playing one on one. You know what I mean? Especially if I've been practicing. And so I think in order to get like real confidence, you got to know the process to get better, do the process, and then get the experience. Like the reason people, it's the same thing in everything. Like people are like, oh, I don't have any confidence talking to girls because you don't fucking talk to enough girls. Like what? It's that simple. You fucking sit in the room all day, scrolling Instagram. You ain't talked to a girl in person in 2 months, and you wonder why you have no confidence. It's like go out and talk. Um, and as far as being efficient with dribbles, you have to practice that way. So I didn't practice doing anything with, 7 dribbles. This is useless. I played all my one-on-ones. Like I was just got so trained in playing one-on-ones with 3 dribbles. Even if there was no 3 dribble rule, that's just how I played because I did it so much. And so play games that require you to be efficient. Like play one-on-one with only 3 dribbles. Yeah, if you're not doing the things that you practice in the game, you haven't done them enough. It's experience, bro. Experience, 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 experience. That is the answer to half of you guys' problems. Any tips? Try not to get frustrated in the game. Practice, bro. Practice. When you have to be aware enough to notice that you're getting frustrated. Once you know you're frustrated, you shouldn't be frustrated anymore. Or just like let it go. Just acknowledge that you're frustrated and then watch how fast it goes away. There's no finishing drills per se. It's do the exact finish. So like if you suck at right hand floaters, practice right hand floaters as much as you can. And then when you play one on one or you play in a game, just try that shit. Be conscious enough to know I'm gonna go and try a right hand floater. What do you think high school players who want to make the league should do to get exposure? Make a TikTok and Instagram with your real name and all your stats, like not game stats, which you can if they're good enough, but like height, weight, school that you play at, city that you live in. Like make an ESPN profile, but put it on Instagram, put it on TikTok, and then post highlights. Like there's the amount of kids I've seen just off of that if I was a college coach, I would go and recruit them, be like, yo, who do you play for? Just because they posted their own highlights. Make a page with your name and contact info, all that shit, and then post highlights. Post highlights. Like that's social media is by far the best way to get seen, bro. Like I had followed this girl from Australia, and she's about to play at IMG Academy. And when I first seen her, I think she was like 14. I was like, this kid's gonna be a fucking star. Sure enough, she has every D1 for her girls' side offering her scholarships. But I seen her when I was 14, or when she was 14. So like, just because she would post highlights and post her skills and like all these things, and so I'm like, I can recognize like what a star looks like. I was like, this kid is a fucking star at 14. And so me recognizing that, like if I was a recruiter, I would have just been sitting on that. And then the second she's eligible to get a scholarship or whatever, I would have been typing away like, yo, scholarship. What are you doing? Both mixtape and highlights. Mixtape should only be like a minute though. Coaches don't have time to be watching your 7-minute mix and then panning it out on you when you're at the free throw line. Like start off with action and also stand out. Like put defensive highlights in there. Like put your strengths in there. Put you diving on the floor type shit. Like if I seen that would stand out more than everybody's gonna put themselves getting a bucket. Great. But when you show up to my fucking school, are you gonna play defense? So if I see a clip of you diving on the floor, getting deflections, blocking shots, showing intensity, being a good teammate, that's gonna stand out to me automatically. It's like, okay, this kid's he's doing other shit besides just scoring the ball. Best way to train on your own. There's no best way. It's just understand your weaknesses and fucking go ham, bro. Go ham, bro. Fundamentals, dog. Any tips on being a better teammate? Um, every single time that somebody throws you a good pass, acknowledge them. If you run past them, they deserve a high five. If you're all way across the court, give them a point. Good pass. Every single time. Don't let one time slide where somebody throws you a pass and you score off of it and you don't say shit. And then like always like try to help them up. Just like coach them. Like if it's a player that needs help, like I wouldn't say coach them, but just like instead of saying like, oh, you fucked up, you should have did XYZ, just be like, hey, next time, like if I do this, just do that, and then I'll get you the ball here. Like say it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be a dick about everything. I think that's the number one thing that a lot of young players get sucked up in. Like I was in that a little bit sometimes. Like I'd look at my teammate like, you didn't even fucking jump. But then, my coach was on my ass. He made me be a good teammate. And so that's part of it. Clap for him. Just be a good person. The best way to be a good teammate is to be a good person. That's how you be a good teammate. Tips on locking down great players. You ever seen anybody lock down Luka? Yeah, I haven't. There's no tips, bro. Defense is defense. It's all the same. Tendencies, learning tendencies. Understanding yourself. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end my live. My closing thoughts. I think the biggest takeaway that a lot of players need to understand is like basketball is not as hard as it seems. A lot of players overthink this shit. Like it's as simple as master the basics and learn how to do anything and everything in 3 dribbles or less. And, learn situations and just figure out, like, as far as play style and skill gain, copy some of the best in the world. Like, there's a reason Kobe copied Michael Jordan, right? He literally just copied what Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan already did it. He didn't have to come up with nothing. He's like, okay, Michael Jordan did that. I'm about to do that. He's the best player in the world. If I do what he does, I'm going to be the best player in the world. Sure enough, it worked. It's really just a copy and paste game, bro. There's no gimmicks. There's no tricks to the trade. Stop watching trainers dribble the fucking air out the ball. They dribble too high anyway. They all dribble up to their fucking shoulder. Like watch actual basketball. That's the number one tip I would give to anybody, bro. It's really stop watching trainers. Like I cannot stress that. I'm probably gonna say that at least once a month on my pages. Like stop watching them. They're not helping you. If they're not telling you, like think about my page, right? And I think this is what makes me different. How many drills are on my page? There is no drills. How are people getting better by watching my page? Like I really think about that question. How are people getting better by watching my page if I'm not posting any drills or if I'm not posting any moves? Right? And so I think you got to take away, like think about what I'm saying and just understand like these trainers, bro, they're not giving you context. They're not showing you that you can't do specific moves in specific areas of the floor. And some of these moves are only for fast breaks. Some of these moves are only for, if you're 15 feet in. Like they're not telling you any of that shit, right? They don't tell you that if you can't play basketball in 3 dribbles that you're not going to get in the game on a D1 level. Right? You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's play basketball, play every one-on-one you play, make it intense and only use 3 dribbles. And I promise you, your game will get 1,000 times better. And then copy a top 25 player in the world or all time. Don't copy a fucking role player. Don't be watching, I don't know, Christian Braun highlights or Peyton Pritchard highlights. No. there's somebody that does what they do way better. And so that's my point. It's not as if they're bad players. Like, I respect those dudes as players, but it's like you're trying to, I think people want an easier route to growth, and so they pick the lowest hanging fruit of like, okay, if I don't have to copy Kyrie, I'm gonna copy, this other player who comes off the bench, like, because that's closer to me. It's like, no, there's only one process. There's only one process to getting better. It's mastery of the most easiest shit that you take for granted every single day. You never see Kyrie mess up his technique on a one dribble pull up, right? Like, and that's the things that, people just don't talk about. And then learn how to read fast. So, like, do one-on-ones with closeouts where they throw you the ball and you got to make a decision in a half a second. Like, my coach taught me how to make a decision. He's like, you got 2 seconds to fucking do something. Because we're playing 2-on-2. And me and my friend are holding the ball fucking forever. And he's like, y'all got to decide in 2 seconds. So I'm like, okay, 2 seconds. Like, 1, 2, go. And then he's like, you actually pay attention if your move worked. So if you do a jab step, don't just go left because you thought it was going to work. Actually pay attention to what's happening. And so just like all those types of things will make you better. And then when in doubt, get experience. That's what I'll tell you. When in doubt, get experience. Play 3 dribbles. Like, it's really not that hard when you think about it. There's not 1,400 drills. It's practice moves that actually happen in the game 80% of the time. And then, just go, man. It just go. Like, the 1,400 drill shit blows my fucking mind. It's just like, dog. Like, people do a spin move shot. You know what I'm saying? Step back shot. Like, the one move. That's what it is. One move shot. Not 1, 2, 3, 4 move shot. It's one move shot. One move counter shot. Like, that's it. If you need a third move, you're not good enough at the first 2. So that's or like pass the rock. You know what I'm saying? And there's no right answer for more pickup or ones. It's both. Stop thinking that you got to do one or the other. It's both. Should I train more or should I watch film? Both. Should I play open gym or should I work on my shot? Both. The answer is both and a lot. And that's where you'll find success. See ya. That's your